We're live.
Yay! I am back. Just to give a heads up of where I've been. I had exacerbated COPD brought on by COVID. That put me down pretty good. It was a pain in the ass. Couple of days there. Then it got better. But uh, steroids, antibiotics, coughing medicine. I mean, the coughing medicine is good. Is a good sleepy time medicine for sure. Uh, but my throat, my whole body, just from the coughing, has been through the ringer. So I'm glad to be finally, after 2 weeks, on the daylight side. I said this before, so I'm gonna knock on some wood that there's no relapse, there's no anything else going on. But before I go any further, I am old new dude. He is,
Richard York, Asher's trueborn son.
and I'll tend to cough every now and then. I do apologize ahead of time. It's not as bad as it was, thankfully. But Daenerys won, and I have got to say that this is um, so far my favorite Daenerys chapter, and you will see why later. Uh,
Huh.
but
Okay.
I see you.
Thank you, Lizzie.
I
Yeah.
almost wore my three heads of dragon. But I stuck with my original Hidden Fingers shirt just for the later portions of this chapter, which is why it's my favorite Daenerys chapter. But as usual with these, we'll start with Richard. He will say what he saw in the chapter, and then I'll jump in with my stupid stuff. So take it away, Richard.
Well, it's good to see you too, Lizzie. Yeah, it's good to see much of anything at this point. So, I'm
Yeah, oh yeah, nice one,
I'm
Lizzie.
yeah. Anyway, it's Quaith. Danny's people are spooked by an empty city. John's night watch will be spooked by four empty villages next chapter. Arya will try to convince hers they should be scared in the following chapter. The Dothraki named the comet Shierakia, I guess, something like that. The Bleeding Star. The old man muttered that it omened ill, but Daenerys Targaryen had seen it first on the night she had burned Khal Drogo, the night her dragons had awakened. This is the herald of my coming, she told herself as she gazed up into the night sky with wonder in her heart. The gods have sent it to show me the way. Unlike Theon, Danny could be right.
Yeah, but I don't know the exact quote that George gives about the gods in his books. Um, so I don't know if the gods sent it or if we're looking at something else. Um,
Sure, and I mean, I guess LML would argue that its path has been altered by Azor Ahai or something, right? So
yeah,
it's in the orbit it's in due to some intervention.
and also you have the Drath the I can't speak today. The Dothraki calling it the Bleeding Star, and then this is only a couple of chapters after we get the Azor High prophecy talking about uh, after the long summer when the stars bleed. So I don't know if that's a misdirect
Hmm.
by the author, but a lot of times he likes to mention one thing and then have it pay off a little bit later, and then sometimes he'll actually swap it around. He'll have the payoff
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
before you
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah. You got to
That's what he was
definitely.
doing there. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's much more. You're much more likely to catch it on reread. Yep, yep.
yep.
You will not live long should you meet Calpono, nor Cal Jocko, nor any of the others. Any of the others. So things might be different once her dragons reach riding age, but yes, then she'll be ready to reach the out to um, meet the others. But Mago and Kojako will plead for mercy.
Yeah.
Will plead for the mercy they showed Aroa, she says, right? Um,
Who is the? Is there a call at the end of the books? At
yep,
which call is
yep.
that? The Dance of Dragons.
I'm pretty sure it's Pono.
Oh no, that's what I was thinking too. I haven't looked, but it just popped in
I
my
did
head.
look it up at the time, but then I know now that I'm seeing both of them there, I've forgotten which one it was. I confirmed that it was one of them, and then now I've forgotten which one.
That's okay. We've been off for a couple of these live streams, so we're a little rusty.
Yeah, I actually read the next two chapters just to see all the pearls and stuff. Dany had named him the first of her Queen's Guard, and when Mormont's gruff counsel and the omens agreed, her course was clear. So Mormont is sort of like a Dunk and Duck.
Yeah.
Sort of. He's the first to be named of the. Anyway.
He's not a small person by far.
Well, yeah, he's not. He's not. He's not exactly like Dunk and Duck, but in that those are they're named first Kingsguard because they're loyal. Of course, right. They're not going to be. He's not necessarily going to be seen as loyal by the end of the first 5 books here.
Now, I've always pictured Shajor slightly bigger than Duck, or around the same size. In my head, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Duck's pretty big. He's not as big as Dunk, but
yeah, 6'5". I mean,
yeah. Her hair had burned away in Drogo's pyre, so her handmaids garbed her in the skin of the Harakar, Drogo had slain. Anyway, the white lion of the Dothraki Sea. Its fearsome head made a hood to cover her naked scalp. Its pelt a cloak that flowed across her shoulders and down her back. The cream-colored dragon sunk sharp black claws into the lion's mane and coiled its tail around her arm, while Ser Jorah took his accustomed place by her side. We follow the comet, Dany told her Khalasar. So actually the teeth sinking into the tail kind of reminds me of the circular sigils, including the Targaryen sigil. But right. But Dany's wearing a white lion, which in my opinion symbolizes her with it being white fur, symbolizes her as a Stark and an enemy of the Lannisters and the Lion of Night. I heard that in some guy's YouTube video. something episode 4. just in the off chance that someone didn't get that sarcasm. That's Triplet Targaryens on my YouTube channel, Asher's Trueborn Son.
Right. And I mean, if she is bastard born, which we don't know for sure, her main color of her sigil would be white. Ish. There you go, Lizzie. One.
These counting our Triplet Targaryens references. There will be more.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, there'll be one right here. Doreah grew gaunt and hollow-eyed, and her soft golden hair turned brittle as straw. So Doreah is the first example of honey hair, and here we learn that honey hair and golden hair are the same. For more on the symbolism of honey hair, see Triplet Targaryens episode 7.
You had mentioned that last time, didn't you? Did you say something about that before?
Yeah, I mentioned that we were going to talk about that we were going to see that honey hair and golden hair are the same in this chapter. Yeah,
I think there's something that happened before that I wanted to ask you about. She felt older than her 14 years. And there's more to it, but the 14 years for her to be the third head of the dragon born. Did you see Lizzie's?
Yes. Okay, and I kind of want to. Go ahead.
But the 14 years for her to be the third head of the dragon, and for her to be 14-ish, that would. I mean, I know people like to play with births and all that kind of stuff. I know George has said that the age difference between Jon and Dany is 9 months, give or take.
Okay.
And then people assume that Jon is born at Tower Joy at the end of the war, and Dany's born 8-9 months later on Dragonstone during a storm. To age her up slightly, even though you wouldn't be able to tell it from her size because she is part Stark, that would change the date of Jon's birth. Does that make sense?
I mean, I'm not sure how honest George is being in that. I'm not sure how honest people Viserys was with Dany as to her background and so forth, right? So
right.
And I'm not sure how honest Kat is as to Rob's age, which is supposedly virtually the same as Jon's age.
Yeah, right? But you got Robb as being a robust family, Tully. You got Starks being the small people of the North. To have Dany be born at Tower of Joy, which shatters my being born at Winterfell. But um, that's if Ned knew how to go from Storm's End to Tower of Joy, Dany's born, the rest of the babies are born. Then that maybe a month after what was considered uh, the end of the war. I don't know if they're considering it when Robert takes King's Landing or when the banners fall at Storm's End when they tip their sigils and all that. Um, that would put John being born 8-ish months before the end of the war. I don't know. It popped in my head when I saw the 14 years. Anytime there's a name
Sure.
or an age given to people that
Yeah.
we think.
Just because I'm not convinced that that George is being honest about when the people were born, and that the people have been told honestly when they were born, and therefore he
Yeah.
would be reluctant to be all that accurate in his statements. I don't put too much faith in the whole timing of that, right? So
Yeah.
I just
Well,
I don't dwell on it too much because I'm not convinced that
I see
we
it.
have enough accurate information to get it.
It opens a rabbit hole, and it's one of those that I really like to kind of dive down.
Yeah. And I highly recommend the Order of the Green Hands timeline if you want the what I consider to be the best analysis of the timing of these events.
The maps that I've been working on, it's not solely on Order of the Green Hands timeline, but I would say 80% on their timeline.
Yeah, and I know that, and part of the reason why I dismiss the accuracy is because they try and dismiss Dany as R plus L on the basis of the timeline, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't think Viserys knows accurately when her birth is, right? So therefore you can't actually say that. Anyway.
All right, sorry.
So Lady Thistle said, I can't see anything going to try and figure that out. So if I don't know if that's, but then later on she says, oh, I got it. So I'm guessing that oh, I got it ties back to that. And as you said, Lizzie said preemptively 3, 4, and 5 because she just knows that we're going to have more references.
Oh yeah.
And there are, oh yeah, one of the most important ones. Yeah, it's right here, isn't it? I forgot. This is one of those like there's like 3 or 4 great quotes that really tie Rhaegar to her father without giving her father's name, right? And this is one of those many quotes. Her father had been slain before she was born, and her splendid brother Rhaegar as well. Her mother had died bringing her into the world while the storm screamed outside. So there's a period there, right? So there's one sentence, right, as if it's one thought, which is her father had been slain before she was born, and her splendid brother Rhaegar as well, right? Tying her father to Rhaegar, and you will never see the name of her parents unless it's used in a way that will distance them from being her parents, her 2 official parents.
Yes.
Her mother had died bringing her into the world while the storm screamed outside, right? And we've talked about how the storm imagery at the Tower of Joy could be part of the stormborn aspect of her name and so forth, right?
Right.
Her father and her brother Rhaegar are often paired, and her alleged father's name only Rhaegar said that. All right. See, Triplet Targaryen's episode 4. Anyway. Lucy's already counted them. She's assuming we're going to have bunches of references. She's right.
Yeah. I was assuming it before I even opened up your email.
They would hiss and spit at each bloody morsel of horse meat, steam rising from their nostrils, yet they would not take the food until Dany recalled something Viserys had told her when they were children. Only dragons and men eat cooked meat, he had said. When she had her handmaids char the horse meat black, the dragons ripped at it eagerly, their heads striking like snakes. So Viserys had helpful knowledge in the books. That certainly doesn't appear to be the case in the TV show. But
yeah. Well, I mean, at least he was helpful to her. I mean, her dragons would have starved if he had not told her that.
Yep. The green one shall be Rhaegal, for my valiant brother who died on the green banks of the Trident. The cream and gold I call Viserion. Viserys was cruel and weak and frightened, yet he was my brother still. His dragon will do what he could not. And the black beast? asked Sir Jorah Mormont. The black, she said, is Drogon. Meet the dragons. I'm guessing Rhaegal should have been Aegon's and Viserion should have been Val's, but things might not go to plan. Perhaps Marcella will get a dragon rather than Val. Meanwhile, while I'm trying to figure out which second female will actually ride a dragon, the fandom is looking at a bunch of dudes like Jon, Tyrion, and Euron, and I'm skeptical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have, which we believe we have the recreation of the Aegon the Conqueror's and his sister wives,
Yep. Yep.
older sister, Aegon, younger sister, and then we have what I see as a we have the three dragons again
Hmm.
based on size. Balerion the black, we have the big black dragon. So we're
Well,
recreating the three heads of the dragon. We're also
right.
recreating the three dragons.
Well, and Danny is, and Rhaegar tried 3 times to father the prince that was promised. Right. The third
Right,
time, we think he succeeded. Right.
right.
He tried. Um, Lyanna gave birth 3 times, and we think the third time is the princess that was
Yeah,
promised. Right.
yeah,
And the dragons prove it. Right.
yeah,
Um, as Aemon tells us, the dragons prove it.
yeah.
So which kind of goes to the whole forking of Lightbringer, right? Things come in threes, and the third one's the successful one, and so forth.
Well, I think it is extremely a beautiful and definitely probably the best decision that George R. R. Martin made was making Dany the Dragon Reborn and not having it be an
Right,
Aegon
right,
recap do over. It'd be the
right,
guys in
right,
charge swinging his
right. She's
sword.
right. She's the princess that was promised, right? That's
Exactly.
yeah. The
And
third
the
the
other
third try is
two,
the successful try.
right? The other two are there to help her, or supposedly are there
Right,
to help
right.
her. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
She gave Dorea water from her own skin, cooled her brow with a damp cloth, and held her hand until she died shivering. Only then would she permit the Khalasar to press on. So our honey-haired handmaid, well, say that 3 times fast, dies,
Hey,
but she and Danny are bonded until the end. No comment as to how the show depicted their relationship.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perhaps we are doomed if we press on, but I know for a certainty that we are doomed if we turn back. So I remember a joke about someone swimming halfway, announcing they couldn't make it, turning around, swimming back, and that kind of reminds me of that. This city is dead, Khaleesi. Nameless and godless we found it. The gates broken. Only wind and flies moving through the streets. Jikwi shuddered. When the gods are gone, the evil ghosts feast by night. Such places are best shunned. It is known. It is known, Eerie agreed. Not to me. Fear of abandoned villages is the theme of this in the next 2 chapters,
Yeah.
right? Ghosts, Eerie muttered. Terrible ghosts. We must not stay here, Khaleesi. This is their place. I fear no ghosts. Dragons are more powerful than ghosts, and pigs are more important. So again, this is the theme of these chapters, and as a reminder, Eerie is the skinny, boyish Dothraki who teaches riding, while Jikwi is the far more feminine.
Right. Yeah, Jikwi is the one that helps with the dressing and all that kind of stuff more
Yeah, and
often.
almost all the customs and things is Jikwi as teaching, but about the only thing that we see specifically that we're told that she's supposed to be taught is Erie's supposed to teach riding, but of course the mayor was her true teacher. They shared a mind and so forth, right?
Right. Also, Erie basically is is the wingman. All she does is, oh, it is known after the more predominant of the two that says it is known. She's the echo.
Yep. She tried to imagine what it would feel like to straddle a dragon's neck and soar high into the air. It would be like standing on a mountaintop, only better. The whole world would be spread out below. If I flew high enough, I could even see the seven kingdoms and reach up and touch the comets. So it's interesting symbolism. Will Dany be the one who calls the comet potentially? I don't know. Just interesting
Uh,
that she wants to reach up and touch the comet.
Also, commenting on your the we're doomed if we turn back talk.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
hear that all the time with Danny. It's just it's you hear Jorah say it now, but you've heard Danny say it when she's going into the fire. If I look back, I'm lost. Type situation. Every time that she has to get onto uh, Jorah, especially there at the end when she's kicking him out.
Hmm.
If I look back, I'm lost. I mean,
Right, right.
there's a
And some,
lot of don't dwell in the past. Keep your head going toward the future with Danny. Sorry.
It kind of reminds me of Star Trek Five or whatever it is, where Kirk is like, I I know that if I know that I turned left where I should have turned right and stuff. He's just like, I don't want to. Anyway,
Yeah.
the concept that if you dwell on your mistakes, you'll be overwhelmed and so forth.
Yeah.
Uh, there are ghosts everywhere, Sir Jorah said softly. We carry them with us wherever we go. Jorah gets so many of the best lines.
Yep. Perv.
Lord Balon Greyjoy Lord Balon Greyjoy rose in rebellion against the usurper, and Ned Stark called his banners to help his friend Robert. The final battle was on Pike, when Robert's stone throwers opened a breach in King Balon's wall. A priest from Mir was the first man through, but I was not far behind. For that I won my knighthood. To celebrate his victory, Robert ordained that a tourney should be held outside Lannisport. It was there I saw Lynesse, a maid half my age. She had come up from Old Town with her father to see her brother's joust. I could not take my eyes off her. In a fit of madness, I begged her favor to wear in the tourney, never dreaming she would grant my request. Yet she did. I fight as well as any man, Khaleesi, but I have never been a tourney knight. Yet with Lynesse's favor knotted around my arm, I was a different man. I won joust after joust. Lord Jason Mallister fell before me, and Bronze Young Royce, Sir Ryman Frey, his brother Sir Hosteen, Lord Went, Strongbor, even Sir Boris Blunt of the Kingsguard. I unhorsed them all. In the last match, I broke 9 lances against Jaime Lannister, no result, and King Robert gave me the champion's laurel. I crowned Lynesse Queen of Love and Beauty, and that very night went to her father and asked for her hand. I was drunk, as much on glory as on wine. By rights, I should have gotten a contemptuous refusal, but Lord Leighton accepted my offer. We were married there in Lannisport, and for a fortnight I was the happiest man in the wide world. So we've discussed how important this was and how it could be intervention, and Casey is giving his little hidden fingers
I'm giving the
gesture
finger.
here.
I mean, just stop and think about it there. I mean, you have um, an older lord from Bear Island in the north talking to one of the most important families in Westeros, asking a girl half his age that never met him for her favor.
And she agrees,
And she
yeah.
gave me. I mean,
Yeah.
and then I mean, every time you get to a point where this shouldn't happen, then it happens. It's
Right.
We'll
Right.
keep
And we
going.
discussed how important that was. Yeah. And in fact,
Yeah.
we'll talk some more about that in here in a second.
Yeah. That's why I shut up.
Lizzie says not like a contemptuous refusal would have ever stopped him from being a pervert.
Yeah.
Fair enough. While I was fighting Bravosi on the Rhoyne, Lynesse moved into the manse of a merchant prince named Tregar or Molin. They say she is his chief concubine now, and even his wife goes in fear of her. Jaime was horrified. Do you hate her? Almost as much as I love her, Sir Jorah answered. So she seems to have some power, and her brother Humphrey is specifically sent to ask for her help. So it's not just Jorah that needed to be in position, right?
Right.
It sure seems like Lynesse may have a part to play here.
Well, I mean, that because you get a prolonged period of her and him together and all the stuff that happens to get them together and all that he has to do to keep them together, that prolonged effect of the hidden fingers, it has a lasting effect on his mind, just like burn them all. And I mean, when you see the hidden fingers, there is a mental cost to the person that they're playing with, and then his love for her is still there, so he can project that onto Dany.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I mean, everything he goes through to try to keep her, to bring in the cooks, the goldsmiths, the all the point to borrowing money in Bravos, to selling the poachers, and because I mean, he seems like a completely normal, honorable Northman, just the not Ned but Ned-esque kind of, and to do all that and then throw his honor away just to stay with her is to get him to Dany. If he wasn't there, Dany dies before she goes into the tent. Jorah Mormont had to be Jorah or some other person like Jorah Mormont had to go through all of that to be standing there at that tent to defend her, to pick her up and carry her
Sure.
in to save her life. Without Jorah
Yeah,
Mormont,
yeah.
we
It's kind
have
of
no
funny
more
because
story.
any story requires the author to position things just right. This one
Right.
has the added layer of the fact that the gods may be positioning the people just right as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, people, future brand, whoever it is.
The old
I mean,
gods, future man, however you want to
yeah,
phrase it.
I can
Yeah,
understand taking a knight and a sold knight, and then put him in Essos, and then him play the Jorah role. You didn't have to take that Jorah role through all those steps, those improbable steps, to get a person here to protect her. I mean, I can
sure.
understand the author putting somebody there, but for there to be so many things that shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have
Right, there's got to
happened.
be some
That should.
backstory, but he specifically has arranged a backstory that's somewhat improbable with some bizarre decisions by the people involved. Yeah,
Right, right, right. I think it's to hint that there's the big game that is being played. I mean,
sure, that makes sense. She could not stop herself calling after him with one last question. What does she look like, your Lady Luness? Jorah smiled sadly. Why, she looks a bit like you, Daenerys. He bowed low. Sleep well, my queen. Dany shivered and pulled the lionskin tight about her. Well, at least she knows what she's dealing with.
yeah, a perv.
He can never have me, but one day I can give him back his home and honor. That much I can do for him. She probably will, despite his betrayal.
Yeah.
Agel, Agel
You still
just
think she gives him
strikes.
the sword?
Yeah,
Okay.
Jorah, the things I do for love. Yeah, that's a good one. Good parallel. Jamie, hold my beer.
Oh, we won before that.
I love it.
Okay. Yeah.
Agro shall strike southwest. Recaro due south. Jogo, you are to follow Shirek Kia, or whatever it is, on southeast, the bleed star. Jogo will follow the comet, right, to the southeast. And of course, that's the correct direction, as
Right.
Dany thought it was earlier. Then he settled down with her small band of survivors in a place they named Base Teloro, the City of Bones. It's good to have a name. It's an interesting choice of names. He had passed the bones of a dragon, he swore, so immense that he had ridden his horse through its great black jaws. So this, I don't know if you've heard this, but I guess in early drafts, she basically stumbles upon the eggs in the desert, and so this could have been the intended original source of the eggs.
Oh, I did not know that one.
Yeah, originally they weren't a gift. Originally she came upon them in the early drafts with the.
Well, I'm assuming
So
that then he hadn't had the three dragons being stolen from Dragonstone and then taken
right, that's
west.
all
Yeah,
added later. Yep, yep.
yeah.
He had found the ruins of two more cities, smaller than Base Teloro, but otherwise the same. One was warded by a ring of skulls mounted on rusted iron spears, so he dared not enter. He'd explored the second for as long as he could. He showed Dany an iron bracelet he had found, set with an uncut fire opal the size of her thumb. There were scrolls as well, but they were dry and crumbling, and Aggo had left them where they lay. So more dead cities in our dead cities chapters here.
There you go. 3.
The pale man with the blue lips replied in guttural Dothraki, I am Pyat Pri, the great warlock. That's why I'm drinking this one. The
At
bald man
least
with the
it's not
jewels in his
blue milk from Star Wars.
it's Neosport is what it actually is. Neosport Berry Blast, but it's got a nice blue color.
There
Anyway,
you
the bald man with the jewels in his nose answered in the Valerian of the Three Cities. I am Zaros Owen Daxos of the 13, merchant prince of Karth. The woman in the lacquered wooden mask said in the common tongue of the Seven Kingdoms, I am Quaith of the Shadow. We come seeking dragons. Seek no more, Daenerys Targaryen told them. You have found them. I wonder why this woman speaks the common tongue of the Seven Kingdoms.
go. Oh yeah, I think it's a big old hint to who she is. Yeah, I think it's really nice how he did that with the languages as to be one of the biggest hints in the chapter.
Yeah, yeah. So back on Valentine's Day, LML was doing Storm John 3, and he claimed that Arson Ice Axe's name could be interpreted as Ice Dragon. His argument was arson is usually fire. So this is a fire person, a dragon person, and the ice axe is supposed to be, ice. So he literally argued that the guy who's trapped inside the wall, who you can hear if you put your ear to the wall, is named Ice Dragon.
Wow. That's freaking neat as all get out.
Well, which makes me wonder. Maybe Ed claims that he can hear. He can hear. Actually, what this Dolores Ed used to say that if you press your ear flat to the wall, you could still hear Arson chipping away with his axe. So that could be the heartbeat.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just a thought.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. Anyway, nothing to do with this chapter. I just happened to have heard that over the since last time.
Yeah.
Thought it was interesting.
Oh, the Arson name is just a really odd. I mean, there has to be a reason he came up with it. He does the name first, and then the carrier.
It was funny when he argued. So really, his name is Ice Dragon. I'm like, oh really? The guy who's trapped inside the wall that you can still hear today is named Ice Dragon.
Yeah, that's just like the dragons under the pyramid, they can hear them scratching. Yeah, that's true. Love that journey for him. LOL. Ice Dragon.
Ice Dragon cometh.
Yeah, ice. We do what you meant. Yeah.
Yep.
Trust me, I misspell more things than you do, for sure. That's a really good chapter. I like it.
Yeah, I had quite a few misspellings in my email to you. I saw.
What's that?
Surprising. I had quite a few misspellings in my email that I.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting there. I'm reading them later, and then you read the word that you were meaning to type, and I get it.
Right.
It doesn't happen often, but when it does, I get a little chuckle because I consider you my encyclopedia. So if you make a mistake, it allows me to chip away at the myth of your brain, so I don't feel quite so smaller. I don't know how many people I've told that you are my encyclopedia for A Song of Ice and Fire, without a doubt.
I appreciate that.
Ain't no problem.
But if we can't remember something, Lizzie and Lady Thistle probably have our backs.
Oh, without a doubt. You're my encyclopedia for these, and Lady Thistle was without a doubt the. I've missed the last two. I was going to try to stop in this last one, but I took the coffee medicine. I was just going to say, hey, I wasn't going to stay. Missed that one. I missed two. I'm pissed. But I mean, if she's quiet, if she's taking care of kids, we don't know what to talk about. We don't know where to go with a chapter. Who needs to say something? I mean, it's miserable when she's not the one leading the conversation on where we should discuss the chapter. It's so we love her. I love her. Thank you. And Lizzie always. Oh my goodness. She's a hoot without a doubt. She knows her stuff, but she's funny as hell. So I definitely appreciate both of them. Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the John chapter.
Yeah, it's a pretty short one. You want to maybe do the half hour later? Because I got a meeting, but we could still do Wednesday if you want to do it a half hour.
Wednesday.
Pretty short chapter, I think.
Start at 12:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, let's do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad you can see me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. That's one of those on two fronts. Lizzie, Lady Thistle, we appreciate you stopping in and checking in on us. John's next. We will be at 12:30 Wednesday instead of 12, as we said. The Valencar, thanks for your comment the other day or yesterday on my health. I appreciate it. And like always, short and sweet endings to these things. So we will see y'all Wednesday at 12:30. I am going to go take some more cough drops because I can feel it building. I'm getting ready to spew. Yeah, thank you, Lizzie. We appreciate it. We will see y'all Wednesday. I have been Old New Dude. He has been
Richard York, Asher's True-Born Son.
Y'all have a good day. Bye.